There is a lot of drama surrounding him and the guys that he associate with. We believe that some of those guys have been involved in criminal activity here in Baton Rouge.
NBA YoungBoy is currently under the threat of a federal inquiry that could result in a life sentence. This entire situation stems from federal agents suddenly being presented with definitive proof linking him to 19 homicides. The same musical artist who recently received a presidential pardon from Trump and was packing out major venues is now on the verge of facing the largest RICO prosecution in the history of hip-hop. Beneath his platinum-selling albums and sold-out concert dates, YoungBoy was reportedly operating a lethal criminal enterprise that transformed Baton Rouge into a violent conflict zone, leaving a trail of fatalities that stretches back almost 10 years and is connected to every facet of Louisiana's internal street politics. The shocking reality of what federal investigators are now examining is much grimmer than anyone had ever speculated, and brand new evidence has just emerged that allegedly ties YoungBoy to 19 murders, supplying federal authorities with all the necessary material to potentially lock him away permanently. What quotes up, fam? We're about to delve deep into some severe federal heat that has significantly rattled the hip-hop community, and believe me, this case is poised to fundamentally alter everything we previously assumed about NBA YoungBoy. Now, before we explore this shocking situation, let me be completely honest with you all. YoungBoy was recently freed, received a pardon from Trump, has been selling out locations on his Make America Slime Again tour, and is earning millions. Everyone believed he was finally safe and sound, enjoying a quiet life in Utah, far removed from all the turmoil in Baton Rouge. But listen, we are about to distinguish the facts from the speculation, the authentic details from the misleading narratives. Because what is currently being uncovered is truly unbelievable. Everything dramatically shifted for NBA YoungBoy. New evidence came to light that essentially constructed a complete federal case against him, one the authorities had struggled to assemble for several years. We are talking about indisputable ties to 19 murders. Fam, 19 individual incidents where people tragically lost their lives, and every single one can be traced back to YoungBoy and his 4KT faction. Now pause for a moment before you dismiss this as another internet conspiracy theory. Federal investigators are extremely serious when dealing with RICO cases, and they have been surveilling YoungBoy since 2018, when they first officially identified him as the ringleader of a violent Louisiana gang. But here is the major twist. New investigations have meticulously connected all the elusive dots that law enforcement couldn't link themselves, and this information is about to dismantle one of the largest power structures in contemporary hip-hop. So, check this out. This alleged series of murders reportedly began in September 2017 with the death of G Money. Now, G Money was not just some random rival. He was YoungBoy's former close acquaintance, someone who was like an older mentor to him during his ascent within the TBG group. But when YoungBoy began achieving fame and secured that Atlantic Records contract, envy and street conflicts tore their relationship apart.
Everything was still all good until he started, like doing his own thing, getting them a little buzz, getting a little money, and he just got the big head and just started the feelings he been feeling probably deep down inside that he was scared to put out. He let that out once he got a name.
September 10th, 2017. Approximately 1:30 a.m. G Money was located at a professional recording facility on the 1900 block of Dallas Drive, the very same studio where the TBG crew used to record all of their music. He was actively working on yet another diss track specifically targeting YoungBoy, accusing him of lying and openly questioning his standing on the streets. But G Money committed a devastating error. He was broadcasting his exact location on social media, standing directly outside that studio building, talking carelessly about how YoungBoy lacked genuine toughness.
Don't impress me, man. You hear me? I know real money, man. Don't impress me, man. You hear me? You know what I'm saying? Copycat. You the next the shit you see me do, you wanna do, but you supposed to be up though. What you saying? Huh? I'm about beef, and what it is? You hear me? Who you is? Get it. Down with you, man. That nigga. I don't like you. I'm gonna keep on that. I don't like you. Oh yeah. Get off of nigga.
What happened next irrevocably changed everything. G Money walked out of that studio for the final time and was caught in a deadly ambush. Multiple gunshots were fired, and just like that, The first victim fell in what would evolve into a killing spree lasting nearly 10 years. The disturbing detail is that someone captured photographs of blood-soaked pillows at the location, and rumors began circulating that the assailants threw a pillow at G-Money and instructed him to go to sleep. That gruesome image attained notoriety in Baton Rouge, transforming the NBA crew into feared boogeymen that nobody dared to cross. Now recall the time when King Von suggested YoungBoy was fabricating stories in his lyrics. Von was listening to YoungBoy's track, Play With Us, where he was rapping about ordering hits and demanding retaliation. Von abruptly cut the song off and explicitly stated that YoungBoy was lying about his actual body count.
What you talking about on this song, bro?
What?
You talking crazy on this one.
Oh, yeah?
He ain't even like that.
Oh!
On his ass now.
On his
All that
ass.
cap.
But here's the crucial detail. Von was dead wrong. Every single numerical reference YoungBoy made in his songs was completely accurate. The second fatality occurred barely a month later, involving 19-year-old Kayonde Halfin, also known as Nisha. She was sitting inside a vehicle parked outside a local deli when gunfire erupted from a red Chevy Trailblazer. Nisha was unintentionally struck in the crossfire during what was apparently intended to be a hit on her boyfriend Hammer, who was actively feuding with YoungBoy's associates. In YoungBoy's leaked recording Money Man, he explicitly details this exact sequence of events, aiming to shoot Hammer but mistakenly hitting his female companion instead.
Details are emerging this afternoon following a shooting overnight that left a 19-year-old Baton Rouge woman dead.
However, the level of violence was rapidly increasing. In May 2018, Big Dump, who was YoungBoy's personal manager and allegedly placed the $100,000 bounty on G-Money's life, was killed in direct retaliation. The TBG crew ambushed him while he was in his old neighborhood on Nan Drive, socializing with his relatives and friends. It was a drive-by shooting with numerous eyewitnesses, and just like that, TBG delivered a clear warning that they could target anyone within YoungBoy's immediate circle. The act of revenge was swift and extremely violent. November 26, 2018, Boomer, the TBG rapper who had been publicly insulting YoungBoy's mother on social media.
Tag me and all. You see this hip? I caught that up. Your mama's, your dad's, everybody you roll with.
Was fatally shot at the Lakeside Villa Apartments shortly after midnight. Quick had been speaking aggressively for several months, even recording videos openly challenging YoungBoy to come and find him. Well, they certainly located him. He sustained multiple gunshot wounds and was officially pronounced dead right there. What makes this whole situation even more disturbing is how YoungBoy's crew proudly celebrated these killings in their music. The day after Quick's death, YoungBoy hopped on Instagram Live, rapping lines from his soon-to-be-released track, My Mama Say. He was talking about how people repeatedly threaten to harm him, but they are the ones who ultimately end up dead.
My mama. Like I ain't see that nigga, huh? A joke, huh? Bitch.
NBA Big B released tracks explicitly titled Smoking on Quick, featuring cover art showing him smoking. These were not mere insults, they were essentially acknowledgments of the killing. But listen, this is where the narrative goes beyond a simple street dispute. You see, YoungBoy wasn't simply reacting to threats. He was allegedly developing a sophisticated murder organization. Every time an individual challenged NBA or 4KT, they ended up dead, and the fatality count continued to rise steadily. By 2019, YoungBoy was openly claiming 3 lives taken in his music. The leaked song Murder Man featured him stating that someone currently criticizing him on Instagram would be the 4th victim, an apparent reference to King Von, who had recently dissed him. However, the numbers continued to escalate because the violence never subsided. The conflict broadened when YoungBoy's siblings became involved in their own separate feud. In December 2019, 17-year-old Javon Brown was shot and killed following an altercation that originated on a school bus. YoungBoy's brothers, B-Way Young and D-Dog, were arrested in connection with this murder, dragging the 4KT crew into a completely new conflict with the 300 Alliance. The retribution for that specific murder occurred on Christmas Eve when 17-year-old Jovante Taplin, known as T6, was killed during a home invasion. Then, in February 2020, Gian Laborde, a promising young athlete, an aspiring rapper known as Gleese, Gene Bang, was shot outside the Mall of Louisiana after being involved in a fight inside the complex. 3 teenagers were arrested for that murder, including 14-year-old 38 Young, who was linked to YoungBoy's Northside Rangers crew. Now, in the neighborhood, we understand that street politics are intensely intricate, but YoungBoy's situation was unique because he possessed the necessary funds and connections to transform his crew into calculated killers. He was rapping openly about compensating hitmen, offering monetary rewards for people's deaths, and having assassins ready to kill on his behalf, with every single lyric allegedly substantiated by actual victims. March 1, 2020, Lewis Scooter Craig, known as Scooter, was killed in a drive-by shooting on Cambridge Street. Scooter was purportedly the person who murdered YoungBoy's childhood friend Lil Dave back in 2010. YoungBoy had consistently rapped about seeking revenge for Lil Dave for several years. And in his 2020 track Hold 13, he raps about how they killed Lil Dave when he was 12. But once he reached 20, he knocked the killer's face off. The violence reached its absolute peak during the high-profile Miami incident in May 2019. YoungBoy was staying at the Trump International Hotel when TBG members Yoshi and Seven allegedly tracked him down and initiated gunfire. A chaotic, Old West-style shootout unfolded in broad daylight at one of Florida's most conspicuous hotels. An innocent bystander named Muhammad Jari was fatally struck in the crossfire, and YoungBoy's girlfriend was shot in the shoulder. But the subsequent retaliation was immediate. March 22, 2020, Travis T. Baby Parker, known as T. Baby, was shot and killed at his family residence. Then, exactly 1 week later, Jason Dutch Nixon, known as Dutch, was gunned down in front of a convenience store. Dutch was a confirmed TBG associate who had been working for the crew for decades, but 4KT reportedly caught him off guard at a gas station and ended his reign. For those of you who may not grasp the mechanics of federal RICO cases, allow me to clarify. The federal authorities do not need to prove that YoungBoy personally pulled any triggers. They only need to establish that he was the acknowledged leader of a criminal organization that committed murders to safeguard its overall operations. And the existing evidence indicates a 10-year pattern demonstrating exactly that behavior. The death toll surged dramatically in 2021 and 2022 when new conflicts erupted between the Vultures and the Bleeders, pulling 4KT into the fray through its established alliances. Cornell Nell McDuffie, known as Nell, died in a car wreck after being shot while traveling on the interstate. Michael Riley and his 5-year-old nephew Carson were killed in a shocking double homicide on River Road that stunned the entire community. The most horrific incident occurred in February 2022 at the Mall of Louisiana. True Bleeda and his friend Cliff were ambushed by what appeared to be a meticulously organized assassination team using 2 vehicles. They were fatally shot in the parking area following a shopping excursion, and the brutal aftermath was captured on video footage. 4KT members immediately started celebrating the deaths on social media, with YoungBoy's brother Bai posting a lol, accompanied by multiple laughing emojis. The evidence being gathered against YoungBoy comes directly from his own words. In his song My Bobo, featuring Herm the Black Sheep, YoungBoy raps about being responsible for 15 murders and tells Herm he can personally name 5 victims Herm caught. He talks about participating in attacks behind Herm, watching him relentlessly pursue people, and feeling excited about seeing reports of the killings on the news. But the most condemning evidence is found in YoungBoy's consistent updating of the body counts in his own music. When he claimed 7 bodies in Dead Trolls in 2020, investigators subsequently found 7 distinct murders linked to his ongoing feuds. When he increased the number to 12 in his 2022 track, This Not a Song, This for My Supporters, exactly 12 additional bodies had dropped. And when he asserted a total of 19 bodies in Tears of War in 2024, the figures corresponded perfectly. The most recent killings in 2024 show the violence has never stopped. Even while YoungBoy was incarcerated, Dart from the Soul Snatcher gang was killed in a shooting incident that left 5 other people injured. Harley Ken, a music manager connected to TBG artists, was fatally shot in Lass. Sage Wilson from SOG was shot on Susan Avenue and later died after being transported to the hospital. The critical detail, however, is this. The federal authorities have been constructing this RICO case since 2018. They officially designated YoungBoy as the head of a violent criminal organization in Louisiana. They have established his connection to multiple shooting incidents, including the one in Miami. They have documented his crew's social media posts where they celebrate the murders. But they consistently struggled to assemble all the individual pieces until now. The timing could not be worse for YoungBoy. He just received a pardon from President Trump, believing he was completely free and safe. However, presidential pardons only cover federal crimes for which you have already been convicted. They offer absolutely no protection from new criminal charges, and RICO cases carry the potential for life imprisonment, without the possibility of parole. YoungBoy's own music stands as his greatest adversary. Every song where he boasts about victims, every line where he claims responsibility for killings, every time he updates his tally of bodies, All of it represents potential evidence. Federal investigators appreciate it when criminals willingly document their own offenses, and YoungBoy has been doing exactly that consistently for years. The evidence strongly suggests how NBA members like Ben 10, Herm the Black Sheep, Big B, and others allegedly carried out planned hits on YoungBoy's behalf. Social media posts where they disrespect deceased rivals, music videos where they include subtle references to specific murders, and lyrics where they admit to involvement in the killings. It is all meticulously documented, entirely public, and highly admissible in a court of law. But here's the truly astonishing part. The total number of victims might be significantly higher than 19. These are only the murders that can be publicly connected through readily available information. There could be additional victims that have not yet been linked, more assassinations that were conducted without media attention, more rivals who simply vanished without creating headlines. The federal investigators are likely treating this new evidence like a comprehensive map. Every single connection established, every piece of evidence presented, every accurate timeline created, all of that is investigative groundwork they can now build upon. They have the capability to question witnesses, obtain phone records, analyze social media activity, and construct an entirely comprehensive case. And listen, the word on the street is definitive. None of YoungBoy's serious adversaries ever dared to call him a liar, with the sole exception of King Von. And Von died before he had the chance to prove YoungBoy was being dishonest. Every other enemy either ended up dead or chose to remain silent regarding YoungBoy's claims of murder. That silence is profoundly meaningful in street culture. The evidence clearly demonstrates how YoungBoy's professional success actually intensified the violence. The more money he earned, the more resources he had to pay for hits. The larger his public platform grew, the more his crew apparently felt compelled to safeguard it through violent means. What started as simple street conflict rapidly escalated into a full-scale murder enterprise worth millions of dollars. Now, this situation is not just about YoungBoy potentially going to prison. This is about the federal authorities possibly dismantling an entire criminal organization. RICO prosecutions have the power to bring down everyone associated with the enterprise. NBA members, 4KT affiliates, and anyone who participated in the alleged murders could face sentences of life imprisonment. The federal investigation is reportedly focusing specifically on YoungBoy's function as the ringleader who allegedly ordered hits, provided payment for the murders, and utilized his successful rap career to illegally transfer the murder. And effects. They are examining his lyrics as direct confessions, his crew's social media activity as concrete evidence, and his financial records as undeniable proof of payments made to those who committed the killings. Ultimately, YoungBoy's complex situation is not simply a matter of typical street beef or aggressive rap lyrics. It is a question of whether one of the world's most successful rappers was actually operating a violent criminal organization disguised as a record label. The accumulating evidence strongly suggests that beneath the numerous platinum plaques and packed-out venues, there lies a trail of victims that the federal government is now fully prepared to prosecute. The critical question remains, will this collected evidence finally be sufficient to permanently incarcerate YoungBoy for life? Or will he manage to defeat another major case as he has successfully done before Life and Dyer? The federal authorities possess the complete roadmap now. It is simply a matter of whether they can successfully prove their case in court and persuade a jury that NBA YoungBoy is, in fact, the chief orchestrator of murder in Baton Rouge. What are your personal thoughts on this developing federal investigation and whether YoungBoy will finally be held accountable for these alleged homicides? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section and click on the videos currently on your screen for more breaking news and analysis concerning this rapidly evolving situation.